Good morning, everybody. It's great to be with you all. Let's have a very quick recap of what we have discussed so far. We have discussed that the most fundamental thing in research is to undertake a research which can ultimately help the society. So the starting point of the research is a problem. So we have discussed about problem identification, wherein we have discussed that it is the task of the researcher to identify a problem which can play a very important role in the years to come. So take up a research subject which is futuristic. And thereafter we have discussed that in order to start the next steps, the researcher has to go through the subject little bit, undertake literature review, prepare plans, how the research has to be carried out. Now let's proceed further to our discussion. Research philosophies are of two types, positivist and phenomenological. Primarily, it is the positivist philosophy which is dominating, which is also called traditional research philosophy. So that is, we have tried to discuss more. Phenomenology is a new discipline in research which focuses on qualitative research. So if you want to undertake a detailed study, in-depth study on a phenomenology, then probably that would be better approach to study. But if you want a very high level of replicability of your research, you want to develop some model, you want to ensure that your research theory is widely applicable and it is very robust, then probably positivist philosophy is a better approach towards your research issues. After your research design is ready, you will go for data collection. So the research design is the starting point. And the first point in that is hypothesis. What exactly is hypothesis? Any one of you can tell me that this is hypothesis?
Sir, Kajal Mathur here.
Yeah, welcome Kajal Mathurji.
Sir, I think hypothesis and assumptions that we have to meet for this research.
Absolutely right. Thank you, Kajal. Kajal Mathurji has said that before we start the research, we might be having some assumptions about that study. We might be having some understanding about that field. We might be having the understanding based on the previous researches, which is our starting point. And therefore, we put that as hypothesis. So hypothesis is based on our previous understanding, previous researches, previous research studies. So you have undertaken a literature review, which have helped you in preparing your hypothesis. So the question comes, if there is no prior study, then how can we have a hypothesis? Any one of you? Yes, Arnoldji, Rahulji, Ramesh Babuji, your opinion on this? You're very active people, so I'm asking you, if there is no research on a subject, how are we going to start?
Sir, Ramesh, good morning, sir.
Welcome. Good morning, Rameshji.
Sir, if you are doing a research, definitely you will find out what exactly is the problem or solution. So if there is no research that's been done, I think the research is basically based on the hypothesis, right? Whether you have something called mu of 0 and mu of 1. If there is a significant difference between the variables, then there'll be mu of 1. And
Absolutely right. Thank you, Rameshji, for your contribution. As we have
Morning, sir.
very rightly discussed, that hypothesis is the starting point of research. You start your research with a hypothesis. But hypothesis can come if there is already some research on similar topics, on some other topic, not on this topic, some other topic, which can help you in starting your research on this topic. If people have said that human beings act like this, human beings are like this, people have leadership qualities, people show leadership qualities, now we want to study leadership in academics, then these previous studies give us a background, and based on them we can formulate our hypothesis. But if we are going to study something on which there is no prior study, then what do we do? Then that is called exploratory study. And in exploratory study, we do not have a hypothesis to start with, because we are going to explore a subject for the first time. If we knew about the subject prior to starting the subject, then we will not go for exploratory study. We will develop a hypothesis, we will undertake data collection, test the hypothesis, and present our finding. Right? But if we have no understanding whatsoever of the subject, then what do we do? That is what we call as exploratory study. Otherwise, we'll go for experimental study, descriptive study, analytical study. As the words denote, exploratory and means we are going to explore a subject for the first time. So if there is no prior study, we will go for exploratory study. I started research on social entrepreneurship, but when I started the work on social entrepreneurship, the word social entrepreneurship itself was not existent. And therefore, I had to undertake exploratory study, because prior to my study, there was no study on social entrepreneurship. There were studies on entrepreneurship, but not on social entrepreneurship. So exploratory study is when you are going to enter into a subject which is yet to develop, yet to emerge. But if you are taking a study, for example, on leadership, a lot of studies have been carried out. And you also want to undertake a study on leadership, but your focus is leadership in academic context, leadership of higher educational institutions. Now, then in this case, we can say that you can go for a hypothesis-based study. What kind of research studies are the best? Best studies are experimental studies. They are able to give you very high level of accuracy. From positivist perspective, they are the best. But if you are doing research on a phenomena, an innovation process, for example, how a person carried out innovation, then probably in that case, you may go for positive phenomenology. That means you will go for grounded theory. That means you will go for qualitative study. That means you will go for participant observation method kind of study. That means you will undertake a research wherein you will be a participant of the research process. So there will be different kind of situations. So it depends. But if your purpose is model building, if your purpose is to develop a new model which can be used all over the world, then probably positivist philosophy and rigorous experimental based study would be the better approach to undertake a study. So the first step is your problem identification. Within that problem identification, framing the objectives, research objectives, undertaking literature review. Based on literature review, development of hypothesis, and now the next steps will start. And the next steps will be your formulation of the research design, whereby you will undertake, you will prepare a step-by-step procedure how you are going to undertake data collection and data analysis. So these will be your next steps. So we will proceed like that. So your hypothesis is your starting point in the present context in research design. And hypothesis comes from your literature review. You have undertaken literature review, and based on that, you have to formulate your hypothesis, which will enable you to proceed further. So when we formulate a hypothesis, we formulate two hypotheses, two minimum start with. You can have more than two, but two are minimum. One is called null hypothesis and one is called alternate hypothesis. A null hypothesis which shows a relationship of status quo. A null hypothesis, the word itself denotes null, means nil. And another is alternative hypothesis. So you start with these two hypotheses. A null hypothesis would be something, a statement would be something like that whether you apply this fertilizer or not, there is no, null means no impact on the plant. Alternate hypothesis could be that when you apply this fertilizer, there is significant increase in the plant's height, in the plant's growth. So the null hypothesis is no relationship. An alternate hypothesis means, yes, if you put fertilizer, there is significant increase. You test these hypotheses, you check these hypotheses. What do you do for that? You will collect data, and over a period of time, you will repeat studies. So how do you do it? As we have discussed in the previous discussions, that experimental studies are the best studies. And in experimental study, the simplest form of study is before and after with control group. What do you mean by that? That you undertake two studies, one before and one after your experiment. You have to undertake some experiment. Before start undertaking that experiment, you undertake measurement. For example, you want to study the impact of taking bone beta or impact of taking Protein-X on the height of the children. How you decide that, okay, I will give for 2 years, I'll give Protein-X or bone beta as regular diet, and then find out. Now you take up two, let's say you take up a twin, two brothers, same age, same background, same family history, same DNA, everything is same. One of them is subject to experiment. So one of these child is given bone beta or Protein-X. Another one is not given. Other diet remains same. And you undertake this study experiment for 3 years. So before the experiment, you undertake their measurement, you find they are of same height. Then you have experimental process. For 3 years, you are giving your health supplements. And after the health supplements, you again take their measurements. And you compare the impact. If both the children are having same height again, that means there is no significant impact of Protein-X or whatever health supplement you have used. But if there is significant change, the significant difference will indicate that there is some impact of this health supplement on health. What will it mean? It means your null hypothesis will get rejected. If your null hypothesis will get rejected, that means your alternate hypothesis is accepted. And you will have to apply your finding, your judgment, interpretation, and discussion. You have to discuss these findings with your research supervisor, and based on that, you will draw a conclusion that eating Protein or eating Bonvita or eating health supplements may lead to improved height among children of so and so conditions. So this is what we call as an experimental study. An experimental study will help you in collecting data, analyzing data, and presenting data in a meaningful order. Yes. You've got 14 researchers here now. So let us discuss with them some of the points. Yes, Arnold G, what are you planning to study?
Yes, sir. Very good morning, sir.
Good.
I'm trying to study on the impact of COVID cases on general insurance in terms of health insurance in India, sir. During
Oh.
recent times, when yes, sir. During recent times, only health insurance was sold, but now due to COVID being coming and it's still being there, now there is COVID insurance and COVID cover being given also. So I am trying to understand the study where how it's going to impact the health insurances and group health insurances in India, because the penetration is just at 3.71%.
Yeah.
So study on that, sir. Yes, sir. So that is what my
excellent, excellent. Now, the first point, problem identification. Is this problem a global problem?
yes, sir.
Very good.
Yes, sir. Not in terms of insurance, but in terms of pandemic, yes.
It's a global problem. Will this study contribute to well-being of the society across the globe? Will your
Definitely,
study
sir.
contribute?
Definitely.
Yes, yes. Very good.
Yes.
Will your study's finding contribute to theory building?
Yes. Yes. And it's to some extent, yes, sir. Because yes, sir,
Fine.
it will have a direct relationship. Correct. Yes.
That means you are doing a good research. If the answers to all these questions are yes, that means you're doing a good research, and we should compliment you for that.
Thank
Yes.
you. I hope it should be there.
Kajal ji, what are you planning to study?
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So I'm planning regarding the related to a recommendation system for the persons who are searching in the net for the any product. Right now, the maximum persons in a COVID perspective, they want to be searched mostly of the IoT devices like the oximeters and other devices like for the health measurement. The devices that are used for measuring the health issues. So I'm working on that recommendation system for that particular system in a sentiment analysis.
Wonderful. So is your research problem a global problem? Is it
Yes, sir.
Yeah, very good. Will it contribute to some benefit for the world at large? Your finding?
So not yet, but I'm finding that the maximum persons that that all are related within or affected by this COVID-19. They all are they affected or
My
their
request,
family is affected.
Kajalji, is that you are going to do a very important work. You're going to devote your
Yes.
time. You're going to devote your resources. So through your study, there should be benefit for the world. There should be benefit for humanity. There should be some benefit for the entire world. We have so many
Yes, sir.
problems for which the world need your helps. Therefore, give your research a direction whereby the world can benefit from your research. Will your research contribute to theory building?
Yeah.
Yes,
That
very
is.
good. That's good. So out of the 3 questions, you have said 2. Yes. I wish
Yeah.
you
Yes, sir.
should say yes in all 3 cases. So modify your
Okay.
research so that you are able to say yes to all the three questions.
Okay, sir.
Ramesh Babu, what are you planning to do? Apeksha ji, what are you planning to do? Shabana ji, what are you planning to do? Can you listen to me? Pankaj Sharma ji, what are you planning to do?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, my core area is electronics manufacturing.
Oh,
So that deals with the PCB designing and manufacturing process. So I was thinking of taking the research program in which I can somehow the research challenge is to reduce the number of size of the chip in any instrument or any device we are using, so that more and more circuitry can be designed on a less and less size of the chip. So the challenge is to reduce the chip as well as enhance the speed of the device, the working speed. That means the oscillations and the frequency on which it is working presently, to improve the frequency first. Second, it's of course it's a global challenge, because once some sort of research comes up, some sort of theory can be built onto that particular method, or a patent can be submitted, or can be verified on the on the global platforms. So it's a global problem, yes. A theory can be built, yes, and all throughout the world, the problem
benefit.
can be addressed. Yes,
Very good.
yes.
Excellent. So your answer is three, yes, for all the three questions. That's great.
Yes, sir.
So
That's
based
what I
on
was.
your studies, you're going to help the mankind, you're going to help the society, you're going to help the engineers, you're going to help everybody. In
Yes,
case
sir.
your
Of
answer
course.
is not yes, then please modify your topic. This is the stage where you can modify your research topic. And after
Not
your
only in
research
the.
modification, your topic should be such which can benefit the world, through which the humanity can benefit. Look, this is a global great opportunity that you're going to get to help the mankind. And you are not going to do a doctoral level study again and again. So if you have got a chance to undertake doctoral study, please contribute significantly to this work, make it happen, make it a really great study, so that through your study, the world is able to get benefit. You are going to
Right, sir.
solve one problem of the world. World has got plenty of problems. And that's why you are doing research to address one small problem intensively. The purpose of research is to undertake a very intensive study on a very small piece of issue. So you will be undertaking an intensive study and will help us in discovering possible solutions. So your contribution will be very significant contribution to the mankind. Yes. Any questions that you have?
Like in qualitative research, hypothesis is required or not?
Generally, no. Generally. But there is no point in giving one straight answer. The purpose of qualitative study is generally exploratory study. Generally, I mean, you can undertake other studies also, but if you're undertaking exploratory study, you're going to study a subject for the first time. And in that case, the hypothesis is the end outcome of your study. You're not starting with a hypothesis, you're ending with a hypothesis. But if you're undertaking experimental study, then probably you have to start with the hypothesis. You have to test the hypothesis. Based on hypothesis testing, you have to submit your findings. You have to either approve or disapprove the null hypothesis, test it, and based on that, you will give your conclusion, and contribute to theory building.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Sir, I was asking if we can be provided some help in order to improve the research proposal, because in this, I don't know if we are going to cover this topic in this series of the lectures or not, but I think none of us has started the research as of now, because the coursework examination has not been conducted yet. But very soon we are going to start the research process for which we will need the research proposals. So I need some help in order to improve that.
When you prepare, when you're undertaking a research, then you have to prepare a research proposal, which is called synopsis, which is how you want to, what you want to study, how you want to study, what will be your duration of study, what will be your proposed outcome, what will be the proposed chapters of your research thesis, what will be your expected contribution towards theory building. This is called research proposal. When you give your research proposal, then your supervisors and other academicians are able to contribute towards development of this research proposal. They will guide you. They will listen to your research proposal very carefully, and they will guide you so that you can improve your research proposal. So your research proposal should get at least one revision so that you are able to improvise it. The more your discussions you have with your supervisor, the more are the possibilities of its improvement. So that the research that you will undertake is really meaningful research. So when you are going to present your research proposal, the professors of your department, other professors, a few professors from interdisciplinary field will come and sit. They will attend to your research proposal, and they will try to see to what extent the research that you are going to undertake will contribute to theory building. The research you are going to undertake will be a very meaningful research. It will contribute to the subject significantly. To what extent the research that you undertake will be really fruitful for the mankind. So all these questions will be discussed. And they will also look at the possible options with regard to your research design, research framework, how you plan to study it, what will be your methodology. They will offer you some suggestions, and this will help you in undertaking your research. Your research proposal presentation will help you significantly in sharpening your research strategy. I welcome the recent moves by the government to promote interdisciplinary research. That will help significantly. Research is not bound by a particular method. It is not appropriate that you have to always undertake a research in narrow domain using narrow methods. You are free to innovate. You can develop new research method. You can develop new methods to study a phenomena. And this can happen if there is interdisciplinary research. In interdisciplinary research, we are able to bring together knowledge, methods, practices of different disciplines. And that will help in advancement of knowledge. My field is related to business management, entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship. This field has significantly benefited from contributions of sociologists, contributions of psychologists, contributions of mathematicians, contributions of scientists, doctors. Interdisciplinary researchers have contributed significantly towards development of business management. The people who came from mathematical branches brought in quantitative school of management. The people who came from medical branch brought in systems theory. The people who came from psychologist branch brought in ideas about organizational development, organization behavior, they introduced different studies. The people who came from sociology introduced qualitative studies, participant observation method. So those people who came from different disciplines contributed significantly to the advancement of management. And therefore, I suggest that if possible, you should also undertake interdisciplinary study with your one supervisor from your core subject and one supervisor from another discipline, two supervisors helping you in developing and innovating in the field of research methodology, in the field of research processes. All these will significantly contribute to advancement of your subject. And that will help you in creating new theory, right? But obviously, research proposal development requires very cool mind, lot of preparation, best wishes. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Everybody.
you, sir.